In a world overflowing with noise, attention has become the ultimate currency. It doesn't matter how talented, intelligent, or moral you are, if nobody notices, you are invisible. And invisibility is death in the arena of power. This is the essence of Robert Greene's Law 6, court attention at all costs. The word court here is deliberate. To court attention is not to passively hope for it, but to actively seek it, to flirt with it, to dance with it like a suitor chasing something essential. Because without attention, no influence is possible. Think about it, ideas that shaped history, revolutions that toppled empires, businesses that dominated industries, all of them began not with silence, but with attention. Yet attention is not given freely. It must be captured. And those who understand this truth rise above the rest, while those who shy away fade into obscurity. You may hate the spotlight, you may claim you want privacy, but make no mistake, if you want power, influence, or even to shape your own destiny, you cannot afford to be ignored. This is why Law 6 is so ruthless and so necessary. It is not about vanity, it is about survival. The world is not ruled by the best, but by the most noticed. To understand why this law works, you need to understand the human mind. Attention is not infinite. It is limited, fragile, and constantly pulled in different directions. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded by sights, sounds, and distractions competing for your focus. The human brain, wired for survival, naturally gravitates toward what is unusual, threatening, or novel. This instinct is ancient. Our ancestors didn't survive by staring at the ordinary, they survived by noticing the sudden rustle in the grass or the stranger who didn't belong in their village. This survival mechanism means that people are biologically programmed to look at what stands out. And in the modern world, this truth is magnified 1,000 times. Media, politics, business, and even relationships are built on this psychological reality. If you cannot hold attention, you cannot hold influence. Think of how children behave. A child who is ignored will escalate their actions, cry louder, break something, scream, anything to be noticed. Adults are not so different. People fear being overlooked more than being criticized. That's why you see public figures, artists, or influencers deliberately provoke outrage. They understand a hard truth: hatred still brings attention, and attention still brings power. Robert Greene hints at this dark side when he writes that obscurity is a kind of death. It is better to be attacked, mocked, or feared than to be invisible. The world forgives many flaws, but it does not forgive irrelevance. This is why Law 6 is not about chasing empty fame. It's about positioning yourself so that your presence cannot be ignored. Whether through charm, provocation, brilliance, or sheer audacity, you must make yourself stand out from the background noise. Otherwise, you remain another nameless figure in the crowd, powerless because nobody sees you. History is full of men and women who mastered the art of commanding attention, and their stories reveal why this law is so enduring. Take Julius Caesar. In the late Roman Republic, countless generals fought wars, yet most faded into obscurity. Caesar, however, understood that military victories weren't enough. He carefully crafted his image as a larger-than-life figure, recording his conquests in the Gallic Wars, always written in a way that magnified his genius. He staged dramatic public spectacles in Rome, parades so lavish and grand that his name became impossible to ignore. His political enemies hated him, but they couldn't overshadow him. Caesar didn't just conquer Gaul, he conquered attention. Fast forward to Napoleon Bonaparte. Short, foreign, and ridiculed by many in France, Napoleon flipped his disadvantages into tools of attention. He dressed in recognizable uniforms, marched at the head of his men, and made bold proclamations that turned him into a mythic figure. Even after exile and defeat, Europe couldn't stop talking about him. His presence lingered, a testament to the fact that attention, once earned, is difficult to erase. In the modern world, the entertainment industry is a battlefield of attention. Madonna, for instance, built her empire not on having the best voice, but on her ability to provoke, reinvent, and shock at just the right time. Every transformation kept the spotlight on her. Kanye West operates in a similar fashion, using controversy itself as a magnet. Even when criticized, he dominates the cultural conversation. This is the essence of Law 6, better to be talked about than forgotten. Even in politics, the pattern repeats. Leaders like Donald Trump understood that constant visibility equals power. His brash style, outrageous comments, and relentless presence in media made him impossible to avoid. Whether people loved him or hated him, they were still talking about him, and that gave him leverage few others could match. The darker side of this law can be seen in figures like Pablo Escobar. As the head of the Medellin cartel, he wasn't content with power behind the curtain. He built hospitals, gave to the poor, and positioned himself as a Robin Hood figure to Colombians. The media, the police, the people, all knew his name. Escobar understood that ruling through fear alone wasn't enough, he needed the spotlight to solidify his legend. What unites all these figures is that they didn't wait for attention to come naturally. They seized it, shaped it, and used it as a weapon. Their legacies prove that obscurity erases even the most talented, while visibility elevates even the flawed. Applying Law 6 doesn't mean you need to become famous or crave celebrity. Most people will never stand on a stage like Caesar, Madonna, or Trump, but the principle remains the same in every arena of life. From the workplace to relationships, obscurity is weakness. Attention is currency. Think about your career. In a company, talent alone rarely speaks for itself. The quiet, diligent worker who produces results but avoids the spotlight often finds themselves overlooked for promotions, while the one who knows how to showcase achievements earns recognition. To apply this law at work, you must make your presence known. This doesn't mean boasting, it means strategic visibility. Speak up in meetings, attach your name to projects, share your insights publicly. Let your boss and peers see the value you bring, rather than hiding it in silence. In business, this principle is even sharper. Countless businesses fail not because their products are bad, but because nobody knows they exist. The best product without attention is invisible. That's why marketing is warfare for attention. Brands like Apple don't just sell phones, they create spectacles. Launch events feel like cultural milestones, transforming consumer electronics into symbols of identity. If you run a business or personal brand, you must think like this: how do I capture eyes? How do I stand out from the noise? How do I make people remember me? Attention also applies in relationships. Humans are wired to notice those who bring energy into a room. If you're socially invisible, others may overlook you no matter your good qualities. The application here is subtle: be present, engage, and show interest in others in a way that draws curiosity back to you. It's not about being loud or domineering, it's about presence. Body language, tone, and even silence used correctly can draw attention. Sometimes, speaking less makes people lean in closer. Another practical application is in the digital age. Social media is nothing but a marketplace of attention. To apply Law 6 here, consistency matters. Post regularly, present your voice, refine your image. The algorithms reward visibility, but more importantly, people only remember what they see often. The more you show up, the harder it is to be ignored. But here's the critical warning: attention without substance is short-lived. You can capture attention with stunts, but if there's no depth behind the spectacle, people will eventually move on. This is the downfall of many influencers who go viral once and then fade. The application of this law is not about being flashy for the sake of it, but about making sure your visibility highlights something real. To truly master Law 6, combine two forces: presence and substance. Be seen, but make sure what people see builds your reputation rather than cheapens it. Visibility opens the door, substance keeps it open. If attention is power, then the addiction to it can be poison. This is where many fall into the trap. The danger of Law 6 is mistaking visibility for strength, fame for substance, spectacle for respect. If you chase attention blindly, you may win eyes but lose everything else. History is full of examples. Take Napoleon. He mastered the art of attention in his rise, but over time, his hunger for glory drove him into reckless wars. The spotlight became his drug, and he couldn't live without it. It blinded him to his limitations, and in the end, the very crowds that once adored him turned their backs. Modern culture offers 1,000 examples. Look at social media influencers who burn out after chasing constant relevance. Their lives become a cycle of outrageous stunts, fake drama, and exaggerated controversies, because the moment they stop feeding the machine, they fade into irrelevance. In this sense, the attention seeker becomes a prisoner of the very power they were trying to control. They no longer shape the spotlight, it shapes them. Another danger is miscalculated visibility. Sometimes, being too visible makes you a target. When you're constantly in the spotlight, you invite envy, scrutiny, and criticism. Think of politicians, celebrities, or even corporate leaders. The more known you are, the more vulnerable you become to attack. Attention magnifies flaws as much as strengths. One mistake in private might go unnoticed, but in public, it becomes a headline. Psychologically, the need for attention can corrode character. The pursuit of constant validation makes people act out of desperation rather than strength. They become reactive, bending themselves to whatever will get the loudest applause, losing authenticity in the process. Over time, the mask they wear to attract attention devours their true identity. For those applying this law, the lesson is balance. Capture attention, but don't let it enslave you. Seek visibility when it amplifies your power, not when it empties your soul. Learn to step into the spotlight when it serves you, and retreat when silence strengthens you. Power is not just about being seen, it's about knowing when to be seen and when to disappear. In the end, Law 6 teaches us that obscurity is weakness, but attention without control is ruin. The mastery lies in making attention serve you, not the other way around. Like fire, it can warm and illuminate, or it can consume everything you've built if you let it burn unchecked.